What's going on, Terrillian fans? Dalton here, your Terrillian tech producer. Sitting here editing, just wanted to reach out and apologize to you guys. Some of our footage got corrupted, and it looks like this week is just going to be an audio episode for you. So we're going to be talking about the music behind Terrillian. Chris, our amazing music producer, has put together and orchestrated some fantastic pieces. It was a really good time recording the episode. Super bummed that we lost that footage. Hopefully not going to happen again. Don't forget to tune in next week. Like, subscribe, turn that bell on so that you guys don't miss another Terrillian podcast episode. Love you guys. Sorry again. We'll be back next week with the videos.
Welcome to Season 2, Episode 4 of the Terrillian podcast. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different formatting. Instead of moving forward in the chapter-by-chapter story, we are going to be listening to some of the songs that Chris has composed for Terrillian. So, Dalton, go ahead, play our first song.
We're going to be talking through it. If you guys don't like that, you could just go ahead and pause the video, go to that link in the video description below, listen to the whole song, and then we will put a timestamp for when it finishes that we're going to be asking Chris a couple questions about it. So.
Cool.
All right. The first song that we are going to play is Desert Gold. Here we go.
So what's your inspiration for this, dude? You're just sitting there.
You, bro, in your art.
Stop it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Stop
I
it.
turned that into a positive.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Stop it.
Just say thank you.
No.
I don't know why I'm thinking of RuneScape right now.
It does have a very retro vibe. Hold on. I love that part. Sorry.
Yeah, that's my favorite part.
When it's-
Only part
when there's no
when there's
music.
no sound.
Wait.
that's my favorite part
No,
of the
it's
song.
like the build-up of like,
You guys are the
what's
worst.
going to happen?
Yeah, and then it drops. Now, a lot of it came from Prince of Persia, Harry
Dude,
Gregson
yes.
Williams.
Okay, so
He's one of my favorite composers.
Oh, that's like exactly what Dalton has in his
yeah,
notes.
so Prince of Persia, and then I also wrote The Prince of Egypt
Mm-hmm.
in
Okay,
there.
I can hear that
So
now,
it sounds like desert, sand. Like
Yeah.
if I didn't know the name of it, which I didn't have the name of it pulled up, when I was listening to these, I was just listening to the files. I was like, oh, this is sick. Is that just you tapping on stuff?
No, it's all. This version's just all finale music, so it's their instruments, and then I put stuff into Logic to try to beef it up a little bit with some plugins.
Oh, sick. Okay.
Yeah, because I remember when you were designing this particular piece, you were obsessed with Prince of Persia for a freaking minute.
No,
you would like send me
just
stuff.
a
You're
week,
like,
dude. It was just a few times.
no,
yeah.
it was like a couple of months on this. Like where
It's
just
not like he's
Prince
my
of
favorite
Persia.
composer or anything. I mean,
Yeah, it is.
mm.
Because I remember you just kept playing, like, you're like, oh, we need to watch Prince of Persia, and you kept quoting, like, random Prince of Persia lines. And I was
I
like,
mean, the movie's like okay, but like the music is pretty good.
I can actually picture like a timed puzzle segment to this music right now. Like
Yeah.
the
Like,
way
I
that you
picture
would
more
get-
as like a running,
That's
Yeah,
kind of
I
what
get
I'm
it,
getting.
I
It's
get it
like
like you're
right.
jumping off a build.
it's like you-
Adventure.
it's almost
The
like you got like
awning
a
is
big
catching
stone
you.
rolling behind you, and you're trying to get through this maze
What's
before the
that,
stone crushes you.
Indiana
Dude,
Jones.
yeah,
Indiana
Indiana
Jones
Jones.
meets
Yeah.
Prince of Persia. Yeah. Now that you've said Prince of Persia, I can't help but think.
Indiana Persia.
Indiana Persia. There we go.
Mm.
I get, I don't know whom in the group has actually played, shoot, what's it called?
I love this.
Shoot, what is it called? The Legend of Zelda, the newer, not the newest one, but the second newest
when
one.
Breath of the Wild.
Breath
yeah,
of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild, yeah.
It does
Breath of the
remind me
Wild.
a lot of that. It does have
100%.
that classic feel, which is one of the things like me and you discussed a lot. Was like Legend
So
of
I-
Zelda knew what they were doing musical.
Right here where it comes in, it goes into the major instead of that minor key. It had, I love that. But then when it comes back in, the rain sounds in the background, that's
awesome.
sick.
Oh, I didn't even notice
Visuals.
that the first time around.
Yeah.
I added
I-
a little bit more.
I always thought it was
Listen.
just poor quality, you know,
Well,
just static in the background.
I'm
it's
turning
like
it
weeks
up.
of my life just like this trash, but
It's trash, man. It's gonna make some great toilet paper one day.
got my name on it. Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, Dalton, about the change up, right? A little
Yeah,
bit
like
major.
so I put in here it starts dark and then it comes back
in sort of a major, more upbeat,
Research.
very strong and satisfying.
I do compose a little heavier with the piano. I don't know.
Yeah.
Piano, I think, is my favorite instrument. It's melodic.
yeah.
It's bass. It can do everything. And then I typically like to do orchestrations around that, like support those musical lines.
When you're coming up with like the musical lines themselves, or like the way you wanted to sound, the melody of it all, what are you using to make that happen? As far as like, what are the things you're like, oh, this is going to go well? Is it like a lot of just kind of like trial and error where you're playing a note and then you play a following key and you're like, oh, that key sounds good? Or is it one of those things where you're playing a bunch of notes and you can't quite, like, you have, like, is it like you have an idea in mind when you start putting it together? Or is it along the lines of you're playing like a bunch of random notes and then you're kind of like
Are
figuring
you talking about
through?
like this musical structure itself?
Yeah, like when he comes up with these tunes, when he comes up with this like fragrant, like there's the way it sounds and the melody
So-
that it has, like what is your driving that
Is it-
connects all those together?
Is it similar to like when you were talking to me about the I love this part.
I know.
The visual of it.
Mm-hmm.
If that doesn't scream desert, I don't know what will.
So like when it was in that major part and there was like the hero is achieving his goal, like it's the climax of the story or whatever, and then when it goes back into the similar to the beginning part where it's a lot more of that
Maybe like the main theme.
yeah, the main theme, the sort of Middle Eastern melodic type of thing. That what I see as like from the adventure standpoint is like the exfil. So like you've gone in, you've done what you need to do, you beat the bad guy, you saved the princess, and then now you're running back through and you're getting the heck out of there. Like that's the part where I see, and
There's
then
an
at the very
adventure
end,
back.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then at the very end when it goes into the I don't know if it's rain sounds or if it's the wind coming through there, kind of sounds like a wind thing. I see them like riding off into the sunset.
Yeah, like almost like a victory ride or
Yeah.
something. A lot of it is probably inspired from Ian's drawings. I do get a lot of ideas and things from other composers, musical score composers and things, right? Putting things together. Typically, I tend to, I think, do things backwards. I really like rhythms. So I might start with like a rhythm, like bottom end rhythm kind of thing, and then I build the melody off of that. Versus I think a lot of people will start with a melody line and then they add rhythms or chord structures and everything underneath it to support it. So it is a process over time, but it's just like drawing, right? You drew your sketches first, and then you start adding more to it, maybe some shadowing or shades or something on it, and then you put the color on it, right? But you keep adding more and more layers to it.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar to the music, right? I'll do one layer, add another layer, add a layer. I love orchestral composing because of all the layers. I usually start with the piano line where I get your melody line, you build motifs off of it, you get your chord progressions from that, right? And I like how things can tie sections together. But a part of this for Desert Gold, I tie it right back to Terrillian because of all the pieces you've talked about, all the different characters. This one is heavy thematic hero sounding material. If you want to use that, right? I mean, I feel like, especially with Terrillian being a multi-tiered planet, multi-tiered, right? I think this piece gives a lot of different variances of the thematic material that can be used for multiple areas, maybe in the desert place. You going into a cave, you go to a castle, you go to wherever, right?
Yeah.
You have a lot of options and things that you can use this music for. But I mean, that's kind of like how I've composed. I've gotten my ideas from others, put it all together, and then boom, you get a solid piece.
So what originally got you into composing in the first place?
Back in high school, I was in band, and we did a lot of ensemble pieces, marching bands and stuff, and I really liked all the different colors, all the different instruments and everything that just, you put everything together, and it's this really beautiful thing. Towards the end of my probably junior year and senior year, I actually started composing pieces, and we put them in front of our percussion ensemble, and we actually got to hold like music concerts in front of tons of people. Sodas, beer. Oh, yes.
It's hipster
He
water.
Dude,
loves
that
click was like
water.
perfect.
Liquid
Chris is
Death.
pouring out his
Please,
soul
please
here.
sponsor us.
Dude,
Yes, spicy water.
So good.
That pop was like really good actually.
I like the tss, little bit tss right at the beginning there.
And it's like, wait for it, pop. But yeah, we would hold musical concerts at the end, and it's something that our school had never done before, where the students actually put together a bunch of musical pieces. And so then I went to college, and I was like, I started with maybe I get a business degree, but I enjoyed music so much. I'm like, well, let me at least, go into music and see what that was like. And I have the personality where usually if I start something, I'll finish it. So I finished music, and then I've gotten a couple of jobs and everything, and but I've always loved composing and putting pieces of music together. And I've started small, where I'll compose some piano pieces, some percussion ensemble pieces, and then just over time, bringing in the strings, the brass, woodwinds, everything, percussion. I love how it all comes together. So it's just over time, I've just been composing piece after piece, very similar to what Ian's been doing with a lot of his drawings, right? He's like, hey, check out this drawing. I'm like, you know what? That inspires me. I want to write a piece that has this kind of sound. And I put that together. Whether we use it for that character or not, we're just constantly building a lot of repertoire, a lot of content that we can use, at any point.
But that's cool though, that like his art inspires the music, and then from hearing the music, like the music will then inspire the video game and like further art.
Hope it inspires, right? It's like
Like it's funny because
It's a team.
the
effort.
music is the other way around. Like for me, a lot of the stuff that he'll like make, I'll put that on when I'm drawing, and I'll put that on with a couple other things, just because I need constant stimulation. It's probably not the best thing in the world, but I do. So I'll have his music like playing on my headset, and I'll have a couple other things going, but it definitely helps set similar like pace and tone in my work and what I'm drawing. So like I'll be able to produce pieces based off the music, based off of what he produces back for me. So it all works out really well. It kind of circles back. It's like he's feeding into my art, which is making his music, and his music feeds back, and then I'm making art off his music.
That's really
Interesting.
You
Very cool. My mic is really hot. Sorry. There we go.
cool.
A little better.
Not physically hot.
It's so.
It's been a hot minute since I've listened or even touched a Prince of Persia game. So I don't actually remember the music all that well. But which one of the games was it right off the bat that grabbed you with their music? Was there a specific game that?
Yeah, a lot of it was the movie, because the movie was composed by
with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, well, it's because of Harry Gregson Williams.
Okay.
He's like Hans Zimmer. He's composed I don't know how many
Freaking love
various
Hans Zimmer.
movies. Yeah, the games.
Dude,
yeah, I like the games
Hans
of
Zimmer.
course too. The games are incredible.
What a stud.
Yeah, but a lot of my I guess musical inspiration comes from him, and other various movie score.
who did The
producers.
Village? Who was the musical person for The Village? Was that Zimmer?
I think so.
I think so.
I actually just watched that for the first time last week.
Well, it's a beautiful movie. Honestly, I really enjoy that movie. I know some people don't really care for it, but
We need to
I
Google
really
it because
like
that music is amazing.
It's
It
a solid piece.
was
Do you want me to pull it up?
James Newton Howard.
Oh,
James
yeah.
Newton
I mean,
Howard.
we'll
That dude
get
is-
copyright
I'm pretty
strike,
sure
but I
he
can
did
I can like
Atlantis.
play some Terrillian music
James
over
Newton
it.
did Atlantis.
I
How
think
about
he
you
did
just
Atlantis.
sing a
and,
song?
do you remember Dinosaur?
Yeah, no thanks.
Disney Dinosaur.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Oh, dude, that music is a phenomenal piece.
Golly,
Yeah.
Didn't he also do Treasure Planet?
Probably. I think he did.
Yeah. I think he did that. That was one of my favorite scores
Possibly.
for a long time.
Yes.
I feel like Treasure
The
Planet is lost
Disney's
treasure in and of itself.
That is correct. He did do
Yeah.
Treasure Planet as well.
Yeah, there you go.
Dang.
Good beer, dude. Nice.
Yeah, I love James Newton Howard.
yeah.
I have no idea the name
Incredible
of
music.
what was the name of the guy that's.
Harry Gregson Williams.
I would have to hear a list of things that he's done because that name is not familiar to me.
Yeah, no, we can pull it up, reference all of his pieces. I like James Newton Howard when he did Dinosaur though, Disney Dinosaur.
Is that the
I'm
little
pretty sure he
dinosaur,
did that.
or
It's Disney. It's like
is that newer?
no, it's
No.
older. It's like year 2000 or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
Oh, like the
Okay, so
CGI.
Harry-
I love
Oh,
that
that
movie.
music
Yeah, the
was
dinosaur
Old
that had the
CGI,
monkeys.
yeah.
Music, man.
Lemurs. They were lemurs.
He did this part where the main chorus line was like high pitched violins, like the violins were really high in the octave range, and it was phenomenal.
That is something I have not thought about in years. I'll have to listen to that again because I loved that movie.
Are we watching that after this? Then?
We are watching.
Well,
all
so we
of
don't
these
get a
movies.
copyright strike. I'm not going to actually pull it up and play it over this,
That's fair.
but go listen to it so that you can tell how really into it these guys are.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then come back. Don't just leave.
That's the cool thing about art, though, right? You get influences from all these people, and you learn about how they're putting things together. You hear their thematic material, and then you get to put your stuff together, whether it's music or even drawings, right? In fact, you get to. I'm sure you follow a lot of other people.
Oh yeah, no, like you're constantly like music and art are just they're so similar in that respect that you're constantly pulling from other places. And like one of the things that I really love, and I think I've sent you those experimental instruments, where it's like the ones where they use like things that aren't typically instruments, and they're like, let's make music out of this.
But you're getting a special sound that you can dictate for this particular character or thing or topic.
And it's whatever. Like, trying to like dip into a different kind of like art style or using like a pastel versus a pencil. It's a lot of that stuff, which I'm like, I love it. Like, that's why I sent you so many of those. Like, there was one that I sent him, and it was some kind of cello instrument with those long, almost like springs that ran out to the drums. Mm-hmm. And like when you would play on the thing, the vibrations would run down to those drums. The drums would actually kind
vibrate.
of like, they'd vibrate. Yeah. It was just phenomenal sounding. I was like, I want this.
Yeah. Oh, we'll totally make it happen. We need to make a list of like this sound, this thing, this sound, this
yes,
thing.
100%. Because there's certain sounds that I hear, I'm like, oh, that has such a perfectly organic sound to it. And I'm just like, I want it so bad.
That actually kind of makes me think. I know we bat around the idea of this is coming from someone that doesn't know anything about music, so please forgive me.
Dude, you know music, bro.
You do.
I know what it sounds good, but like all the terms you use, they just run over my head. I have no idea what any of it means. But like I know we bat around the idea of like having the night trees have a specific instrument that is like involved with all of their music. So like it would be like string or something like
Wasn't
that.
Wasn't it the village? Is that what you were thinking for them?
No. I was doing that for the Darth Merrick race when you're like in an area where
night trees is a different sound,
right? Yeah, and like Darth
they were gonna have more
like
metal-based instruments, which I thought would be
more
fitting.
brass,
which I thought would be a little more on the fitting side for them. But I remember we were discussing the village in relationship to like the woods and how that would feel when you went into a wood that had like a Darth Maul or Darth Mar chilling in it somewheres, and you walk into that and you can feel that presence, and then the music would stay the same, but then you would get that little instrument that would start following with the melody, and then like you wouldn't even be able to see anything just yet, but you would already know that you're in like the region.
You're in their territory.
You're in their territory, so you'd have that creepy feel, and then
more music coming soon.
As you like get closer, it's almost like one of those things on submarines, the little trackers was like beep, beep.
Sonar.
Radar.
Yeah, sonar, where you're just like getting closer and closer, and then you would see that instrument would slowly start to take over the rest of the musical ensemble. It would slowly start to pick up and become the main portion of the song, which would be like, okay, now you're like, there it is right in front of you type of thing.
Mm-hmm. That'd be super sick.
Yeah, because it definitely adds like an element of fear for sure, which I'm just like, yes, please.
New level,
next level.
It's like when boss music starts to play before there's a boss. You have this moment of like, what's going on?
I gotta check my inventory.
Do I have enough health potions?
Yeah. Nice. Well, do we want to move on to the second song?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So the second one is called Wonder.
I think you have it out of order. The next one is Aquatic Adventure.
Oh. The next one is called Aquatic Adventure. I was looking at my notes, not the actual organized episode notes. Oh. Hey, you know what?
I appreciate you.
So, Chris.
I love you guys. Okay, Aquatic Adventure. So, this is the one that Chris and I sort of recorded together. Teamwork. So.
Wait, do you also know music then?
A little bit.
He is very talented, actually. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
He's better than Chris.
We're going to compose more together.
We are actually, yeah.
And we're going to put lots of albums, stuff for Terrillian for sure.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Aquatic Adventure. So the guitar is me in there. There's not a ton, but I sort of brought like a chord progression to Chris and was like, hey, this should be a thing. And he was like, oh, okay.
And we knocked it out in a day.
Yeah.
What was that one more time? What did he do?
No, he just made it happen. Okay. You know.
Yeah.
Like, you know how when you make things happen, you just like that?
Yeah, that's actually fair. Sometimes it just keeps progressing on its own.
Yeah. I have a joke I can make.
It just happened. You know?
All right, let's go ahead.
All right.
Shut up, Chris.
love that noise in the background. You found that right before I left for the day.
Yeah, no, he's submerging in water. It's a different piece because there's a lot of space, a lot of open space, like the ocean.
Yeah, depth.
Depth.
Got him.
Okay, so I'm curious, Ian. We have not yet talked about any creatures or things that are underwater yet.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have plans to incorporate that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean,
Talk about it.
So you can attest how much I love aquariums. And the fact that I literally would love to drive 2 hours just to go to an aquarium.
That arm.
The fact that, yeah, I have aquatic creatures on my arm. No, like
How did I get inspired? I wonder.
Crustacean.
Yeah, no, water is like anything that has to do with the ocean is honestly like freaking awesome. So a lot of the creatures that I designed for the aquatic side of things, I drew when I was probably 15, give or take, 15 to 16. So a lot of them do need to be revamped and redesigned and stuff like that. But the ones that I did draw when I was like in that part of it, like I was pretty extensive with like the different creature designs. And actually one of the big influencers for me was National Geographic. When anytime they had anything with underwater stuff, I was like, yes. And then when I heard this for the first time, it actually reminded me of Harry Potter. Yeah, no, like super good reference right there. But it reminded me of Harry Potter when Harry Potter actually is doing the Goblet of Fire, and he does the underwater one where he actually goes into the challenge.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it kind of reminded me of.
Or like the mermaid
just like
things or whatever.
the view of it. Not necessarily the danger because they have a more dangerous melody playing in that particular scene, but like that, deep bluish feel to it of openness, which I was like,
and he's looking around, he's searching for stuff, right?
Yeah,
like, that's
he's searching.
What this music
like,
is for. You're in the game and you're searching.
You're searching underwater.
Yeah.
The thing about water, which is like a lot of my work, I draw a lot of characters that are like bipedal or they're like land creatures in some design, or air creatures. I haven't done any water ones in a very long time, but when I did like I try to make them as, what's the word I'm looking for? Those, what are those fish that glow in the dark?
Angler?
Angler, but the other ones that are more vibrant about it.
I know what you're talking about. Bioluminescent fish.
Yeah. So I leaned heavily on that because I was like, I really want, for as dark as the planet's surface is, I wanted the waters to kind of have almost like an opposite effect. You just surfaced.
I love that part, dude.
But I wanted it to be like as much chaos
Doesn't it go
as
back
in
into
that
the
world.
melody
You
too?
have that
There for a second.
peaceful drive. What?
Right here. Just that right hand movement.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Upper register.
Yeah.
Then the string support.
That was very peaceful.
It is.
Dude, it's the
like,
most satisfying piece.
It's space.
Yeah.
Like you hear that song, you're like, I could actually take a
Yeah,
pretty
even
solid
with
nap
like I
tonight.
could actually picture your character like walking along a shore outside of a city or
That's
something.
why I'm
like
excited
that.
to put this game together, because you can.
Dude.
I mean, all those things we can actually compose every detail.
Yeah.
And we can put it
Like all the
together,
things
actually
that you
make
like
something.
about other games. So what's something that you don't jump on, Skyrim or Morrowind to do?
What's something you don't?
What's something you don't? To go fishing, maybe?
I don't think Skyrim has a fishing option, does it?
Exactly. You know what you can jump onto and go fishing?
Stardew Valley.
Terrillian.
No, well, probably not. I mean, I don't know that we know that yet because
Ian, will your character fish?
I want to have a lot of leisurely activities. Like I want your
Yeah.
guy to be able to smoke a
Wow,
pipe, just
so
walk around like
so-
and just
so
he's smoking a pipe,
relaxing.
just chilling.
Yeah.
Like, I want to have those leisure opportunities because like I can't tell you how many times I've played Skyrim or any random game and I just put it on just to listen to it, and I just let it run. And I just listen to wherever I am, and then I'll walk into the room. My guy's getting totally killed by a mud crab or something, and I'm like, "Oh crap!" And I pick it up, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm Dragonborn now, and I can kill him." But no, for a lot of stuff, I do love just like the ambience of what I'm listening to. Like if you look at my phone, it's just all my like search history is just like ambient music for Skyrim, ambient music for Morrowind, like all these different games that I played that I'm like, my brother pretty much took over the computer, so he would always play it. So I was like, well, I got used to listening to it. So now I'll like have people do like quiet walkthroughs with no commentary, and they just play through the game, and I just listen to it. I'm just like, this is peaceful.
Well, Terrillian's kind of a dark game. A lot of the characters are pretty dark, But I always imagine there's this other side of it too, right? This kind of peaceful side, and you can go on different quests or look for different things, as part of the game. So
I think I've said it before where I was just like, as dark as the characters are, the planet needs to reflect the light side of that.
Yeah, you get glimpses of what the planet's
Supposed to be.
intention was,
Yeah.
like what it was supposed to be, what it could have looked like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that actually makes me think of, not to go to anime, but we talked about this a long time ago because, like, early days of you and I we were talking about that contrast of, like, how dark the world is and how you want, like, that bioluminescence. And I made that distinction, the comparison to Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
Where the art color of that anime is all, like, primary colors that pop in your face, like yellows, blues, like it's very bright, but the subject matter is really heavy and dark, and at some point you're just sitting there like, if you got into it, you're having tears ripped out of your eyes. You're like, oh man. And that's kind of how I picture Terrillian in certain moments, and then having that music happen maybe like 10 minutes after something really, really heavy happened, just to give your heart that little bit of a break.
Yeah, because I feel like there are like some animes that have come out there that like, or just shows in general where it's so heavy on the dark hand that you don't want to ever watch it again. Like you watch it through the first time, you're like, oh, this was great. This was solid. But you don't have that, yes, let me get my cup of coffee and put on this guy being tortured for the next 5 hours.
So it's gonna be kind of an interesting parallel, but it's almost like the difference between watching something like The Passion of the Christ
Never seen it.
and then watching something like The Chosen.
Okay, yeah.
Like,
Where
The Chosen
same
has a
story,
lot-
but one is like,
Yeah. Like, one is like you watch it once and you're like, okay,
I'm good.
people need to see this because it is just nuts, but I don't want to watch it again. Whereas The Chosen has a lot of, they have the good moments, the happy, fun moments where, Jesus is playing with the children and showing them the little wooden toys that he's made or something like that. But then they also have, Paul, and spoilers if you haven't seen The Chosen, they also have Simon Peter walking out onto the water just broken to Jesus, like just crazy, massively emotional scenes. And it's like that parallel is what makes you want to keep coming back to it. And so it's like, I think it's, from what it sounds like, just from the music that we've put together and just looking at some of the things that you've drawn, well, okay, a lot of the things that you've drawn.
everything.
I'm
Basically
really,
everything.
I was about to say, yeah.
all of it.
I'm really excited to see how this all comes together. And I think the music is a super, it's very indicative that this is going to be more than something small.
I kind of
So-
visualize too, the more content we have, we start matching stuff up, doing, drawing boards and like this character, this scene with this kind of music. And just over time, we just keep putting things together, putting more and more content together. But
Yeah, it is one of those things that like, as far as
more
like,
time,
huh? What?
little
Could
bit
you,
more.
could you not hear me?
a little bit more time.
A little bit more time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, it was
Go
one
ahead.
of those things when I was coming up with it. One of my favorite things is having such a, I could say, stark contrast between the dark and the light side of it all, but having enough to where like your character is not going to get, like once you get done fighting, like I don't know, I can't speak to everybody here and the way they play video games. Me personally, like I'll play through a game and I'll like beat everything and I'll do every side of the quest, light side, dark side, whatever you want to call it. And then like a lot of the times I'm just like, I just want to wear, the commoner clothes and just walk around a village and stuff like that. And I want that for your character. I want you to be able to have that to where you, depending on your play style, depending on what you want, you do have those options to where you're like, yeah, I want to chill or I want to go out and like, be a hunter. Cause I know there's some people who that's how they play. They role play their games. So they like to be like, okay, I'm going to be just a hunter. And that's how I'm going to play Skyrim. I'm just going to shoot deer all day.
Like Red Dead Redemption or something. A lot of people go to that game as like I'm going to play this for an hour before I go to bed because I can think about something else. I can go ride a horse through the Wild West and just hunt some deer or something like
I think
that.
that's
Get
why
inspired.
Minecraft had such a good
Yeah.
like following because it
Yeah,
had
that's a
such
good
a
one,
peaceful
too.
way. Like when you listen to the music, there is actually no aggressive music in Minecraft. It has like everything.
It's got
in it.
creepers.
Well,
Well,
no, but I
yeah,
mean like
okay, that's true.
musical wise, it's like everything in it is very, very peaceful. Like I'll put on the music and on my phone. I'm just
Isn't
like,
there
wow,
a
this is nice.
peaceful
Unless you
mode
get to the
in
second
Minecraft?
wave of the raid.
Oh my god. For those of you who don't know, I just learned how raids work and I lost all my villagers. It was really disappointing.
Except one.
Except
It was a
one.
bad
Except
time.
one.
It was a bad time. I was trying to get a discount, but that's the
He
long
should have put it
story.
on peaceful
Anyway,
mode.
video games lit.
Yes, 100% nerds.
Yes.
Loving it.
All right, we should really move on to the third piece because we're going on like 35 minutes here and we've listened to 2 of 6.
Already?
Yeah,
Wow.
Oh shit.
Look at
Yeah.
us. We love things.
It's like it's inspiring us or something.
That's
It's
so
like we
weird.
like what we do.
Yeah.
Art inspiring art.
Inspiring.
Inspiring
Just
art.
circle back.
Oh, so good.
Put a pin in
Okay.
it.
Put a pin.
Put a pin, a circle. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So the third
Wander
one,
is next.
you said Wonder is next?
Wander.
Can you pronunciate that better?
Wander.
Wander.
Wanda.
That sounded like that robot Disney. What was that called?
Wow.
Oh my gosh,
Wall-E.
Wally.
Oh,
That was
Wally.
I'm just thinking about Wall.
Real quick,
Okay.
before we start this piece, though,
Yeah.
do you want to talk a little bit about the Cherik?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we need to
that was
talk
one of
about
my-
the cherry.
Wait,
my points.
This is an experimental piece, so it's a little out there.
Wonder?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
Wonder
a little
has a-
experimental.
Here,
Good
go ahead
background.
and start it, and you'll get why.
Is one of the
Okay.
Cherriks on the website?
So I have
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
I have
so
2
you go to the
versions
website,
of
see a
Wander.
picture of this creature.
6.2.
a 6.2.
Yes.
Okay. Ooh. Oh, I love this one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
So this one was cool because I think it was the only one I got to like kind of see the process a little bit. Ian literally was just pulling up like
You can hear him walking.
5-second clips of like random instruments and just sending them to Chris and being like, I want this instrument in there. Or like
I remember. Were we
he would
together
send
when
Chris
he was
like
sending you stuff?
images and be
Probably.
like, I want this. Like
It's a melodic piece, but then it's a little chaotic, but at the same time, it's peaceful. It's kind of a mixture of everything.
I
Oh,
like it.
dude, yeah.
It's experimental though. There is some parts of it are kind of out there.
That's sick.
Don't be afraid of progression, bro.
Dude,
The music progresses.
The music
what are
progresses.
the noises? Like in your
You'll hear it's coming up.
No, like the ones that just happen.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's like rocks and dirt and grass.
Did you search out like footsteps through grass
Yeah.
and things like that?
It's not. It's. I don't picture like a human's footsteps, but like if you go look at the Cherik, I'm picturing like bunch of Cheriks like walking around and stuff.
Nice.
we can put some images of the Cherriks up on the website, and we can also link to the website because a couple images are up there.
Okay, well, I'll put them in like the lower third of the screen here as well, so you guys can see what we're talking about.
Sorry, I'm just having
Dude,
a blast
that's
with the
sick.
music. It
And
was
as
meant
you-
to be uncomfortable as
Yeah.
far as like when
It's-
you listen to
That's
it.
why you got the crunchy chords.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the off keys, which I freaking love. Bro.
And then the piano walking right there.
Dude, it's just, and then the build.
It's almost jazzy.
Yeah.
Like the walk, yeah, I said slight differences when it gets to the walking feel.
But it's like an off progression at the same time. Like
Yeah.
it's not your typical.
No.
Yeah, so for this particular piece, we were going for an insect race. But the way this insect race works is it has to go hand in hand with the people. It requires basically, it requires humans in order for their race to reproduce and populate. It's actually pretty horrifying how that process works. We have a video on it. It's terrifying.
But the music is peaceful.
But the
Those
music
are
is
freaking
peaceful because
terrifying.
yeah, it's. Oh, you're looking at them right
I'm
now.
looking at them. I
Yeah,
haven't looked at all of these pictures knowing what
they're
they
pretty,
do.
they're pretty terrifying little guys. But they've
Dude.
engrossed themselves
Wait,
into.
here's the end.
Yeah, there's the end. Yeah, they've engrossed themselves into the economy of basically a lot of these kingdoms. So there's like sections of their buildings which are predominantly like Cherriks are like walking around inside of there. So they're not like an enemy that you would like immediately start attacking. They're walking through the streets. They have business, like they are part of the structure of this kingdom. So you get to see like, that's why you have to have this peaceful music to where when you're like, say you're walking through one of their buildings, you can see them doing their own thing. And like, you're just walking through and you can hear that music playing. And it's like peaceful, but uncomfortable. So you wanted to have that off. Exactly. Something that doesn't seem normal.
I wonder, so have you thought about doing like when you have the, the Terrillian theme or something playing in the background and one of these gets close, you keep using the Terrillian theme,
but it's off.
But it's off and it's cut up in the same style that this one is.
Yeah.
That.
But see, once we start getting into like animation and like movies and cut scenes and stuff like that,
dude,
then we can start putting things together.
If you could make the music dynamic, how would you even do that?
Probably one step at a time. Getting animated.
Are you trying to push me to
animated drawings?
Dude, I'm trying, bro. It's hard. So I recently found out that I have the ability to do like 2D, like animation slides.
We'll get there.
And it is terribly hard. For
or
those of you who
anyone
can't
out there
do
knows how to animate.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going.
Mad props to you guys.
And wants to
contribute to this very small.
We've got a PayPal account now.
Contribute to an endeavor.
Please. Yeah. We need help.
Currently small.
Currently small. Yeah, no.
But hopefully
get in on the ground floor.
The ideas are there.
The ideas are there. We have good content. We have a lot of stuff. It's just some things do take time, and like I tell you, 2D animation is not a very easy process. It's
it's not your style. It's not what you're most comfortable. Like
fair. It took me a while just to learn how to use the tablet.
Yeah.
And then
a lot of your stuff is like concept art and
characters predominantly.
Yeah,
like
you're getting into detail for sure.
Like I do characters, I just don't do backgrounds very easily, which is it sucks because if it's weird. It's like if you look at my pieces from when I first started, way back when, I did actually do quite a bit of background, and then one day I got really fixated on drawing characters, and then background just kind of fell into the background. Yeah, and then there wasn't like it was like almost night and day. You went from one background, like a bunch of pieces with backgrounds, to just pieces without. And then I was like,
but you're getting a lot of content out there, a lot of different characters, which helps with the storyline, right? So
yeah, everything started leaning heavily upon the story itself, and then just the individual character development.
Yeah, and then combined with knowing what the story is, the music pieces, because I've only heard like one or two songs that y'all have done so far, minus what's like been in the podcast like beginnings and whatnot. Just the feelings that you guys are trying to achieve with the music, the story that Ian created. Like, I know I said this years ago when you walked me through the story, but like, I mean it all the more now, is I want this to exist in a game.
Shoot, bro.
Because just knowing how your heartstrings could be pulled by this, which that's why I love games, is for the stories, the characters, the worlds. It's just all that just seems so beautiful. And like with that last song and the one before that, it's just like, man, you're capturing that feeling.
Yeah, definitely.
So
yeah, it goes beyond like just creating a game, because I do know like a lot of like designers and game designers out there that have fallen to the main. They're just like, let's make as high res videos as we can with the traditional what's the word I'm looking for, like they just try to make content to put it out there, but they're not really workshopping the storyboard. So you either get one of two things, either really, really low quality that's like by like some kind of like third party company, but it has a great story and you're like, this needs to be out there more. Or you find like these big companies who are like, how can we make just another shooter? Let's just release another shooter with different guns.
How can we make as much money as possible?
No, the thing about this is like at the heart of it, it's an amazing story. Like the art is amazing and fascinating, and like the music is super cool.
And it's original.
And it's all like all original art.
Everything.
But like the story itself is just like going through it, because Beard and I are going through and kind of, each week help Ian with writing the story, like getting the story down. Like the more I learn about it, the more I help. I'm like, wait, this story is amazing.
Yeah.
Like it's just so cool.
More to come.
That's wild.
You guys make me blush.
All right.
More to come.
Let's move to the next song. Also, I do want to point out that Chris just helped Ian speak into the mic.
It happened.
I did.
So
full circle.
I'm not talking to
I was about to say, progression. Chris, we're all very proud of you.
You know, you've come a long way.
Good job.
I'm trying to help you, bro.
First you started
I'm trying to
wearing
support
boots,
you, dude.
and then
You've done good.
I love boots, man. I've always worn boots,
good.
bro.
Yeah,
you know,
except all the people that have been messaging me about your feet in the last episode.
Dude, boots. Man.
But, you know.
I have.
we consired putting blur over your feet.
My
so
feet are
blurred.
beautiful.
That's what we
We
should
need
start a
to charge
Patreon
money for
for.
that.
Yeah, start a Patreon just for Chris's feet pics.
Yeah.
No, I hate it. I hate it so
All
much.
right,
I'm
so-
50% of the messages saying, please, no feet.
I know, yeah,
More
she hates it
feet.
so much. All right,
More
next
feet.
episode is depths.
Song.
So
Yes.
this one sounds like this.
Dalton just starts singing.
And you guys may actually recognize this one if you've already seen episode 1 of season 2.
I did.
Oh, you did. I'm proud.
I
of you.
did.
Into the mic.
Into the mic.
There's a lot of
Okay, I want to
dynamics
talk
in this
about like
song.
what is the scene that would be happening during this?
I could tell you, Ian
It's like
sent
the intro
me
cutscene or something.
the Kraken from Pirates of the
Oh,
Caribbean
okay.
Oh,
with Hans Zimmer.
dude,
This is not nearly as good as him, but if I, with more time and
more resources.
we'll get there.
I was about
But,
to say.
Don't
Yeah.
cut yourself short. This is still like phenomenal.
This is sick. Like, there's a reason I picked it for the intro and the outro.
It's a good piece. I wish I could do more and had like authentic instruments on this.
So good.
It's got a lot of punch.
How long did this piece take you?
A couple months for sure.
a couple minutes.
A couple months?
Couple months.
One of your pieces took like over 6 months, right?
Yes, for sure. But I mean, we all have jobs and everything, right? So I don't get to
Yeah,
do it as
for
much as
sure.
I'd like to do it. but
Kids.
Maybe one day I could do more often.
Mm.
We
Aw,
could do
yeah.
more.
We could do more.
Yeah.
We could progress.
It's a
Transition.
third of the way
I hear an
done.
organ.
Yes.
Yeah.
You just won me over. I hear an organ.
Yes.
Okay, that's why I was getting like cathedral, flying buttress.
Honestly, I forget the
Imagery.
context of what I had sent at the time. I know I was sending you a lot of heavy stuff, and I know we were going for a decayed. What was it? It was a decayed aristocracy.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were in a
Yeah.
they were in a decayed aristocracy theme. We were in this like movement. I even composed a classical piece.
Yeah, I remember that actually.
Yeah. That was a really good piece too. But something about you had this king that
Dude.
was like unbeatable.
Right here.
It was one who had smoke or something or poison.
Toxia.
I love this part.
Toxia, dude. Toxia.
Toxia. I can totally feel that in this song.
It's
Just
a
like that
really heavy-
underlying.
It's a heavy piece.
It really is. We wanted to have like all the intention of like you are in a place that you're most likely going to die in.
Like dense.
And it keeps building. That's why I
Yeah,
love Hans
dense.
Zimmer.
That's a good
Hans Zimmer
description.
knew.
Because
I
he
can
keeps
feel
build,
the
he's
smoke.
able to build
Yeah,
it with
yeah.
interest.
When you think of Toxia and you think of his guys that have that smoke and the poison gas, right?
yeah,
That's you can feel that in this song. Right here.
and the drop. It constantly shifts too.
Right there.
And it doesn't really hit a climax either.
I feel like that moment is when you see the fog.
Yeah.
And then it all speeds up and you're like, oh crap. And that's
can
when you're
even
trying to get
Picture
out.
maybe some battle scenes or something,
Yeah.
right? You're constantly trying to escape. You know you can't win, but you have to fight but escape at the same time.
Parkour.
Yeah.
And the best part about that particular character,
Parkour.
parkouring.
Parkour.
Parkouring
Parkour.
right now. Yeah.
The best part about this particular song is the way that Toxia would fight is he would more often just send his goons just to attack you, and he would just sit at his throne and watch. Like, you wouldn't even get up. You aren't not worth his time. And that's what you
What a
need to feel
boss.
is like you are just beneath him, and he knows it.
Yeah.
So he'd be sending his guys out there to try to fight you, and literally your goal is to escape, and he's not even worried about it. Like, he's
That's
not
why
even threatened.
even with this music, it never really fully resolves. It's not happy.
No.
It's like this constant. The melodic line is going down. It's descending, right? You
Yeah.
never go up. It's constantly going like
It drives
it'll
you
build.
down.
The music builds and gets louder and stuff. But even
Oh,
this
yeah.
this last part, it's a descending line the whole time. Like there's no hope. right?
Yeah, you need to know that you're in the presence of someone who can beat you.
Yeah. You're gonna lose.
You're gonna lose. That's one of the biggest
Here
things.
comes
Right
the
here.
blow. Boom.
That's
That
such
song
a good one,
brings
man.
joy.
Like I mean, obviously, editing the videos and stuff, you can tell that I enjoy that song because that's like the one that I use for.
I like the contrast because even the first couple pieces we've listened to, they're more peaceful, but then you have these dark pieces. And I mean, I can imagine in the future when we get more resources, we could put like maybe like heavier guitars, heavier instruments, or just instruments that have a lot more presence in the songs
Yeah.
or in the pieces.
Like cello, like
And it's
Just
like one
fill it
cello,
out.
but it sounds like 50 cellos playing.
Yeah.
Like I totally want to get to that kind of level, but
Oh yeah.
that'll give a lot more depth
I gotta get my
to his
Depth.
art.
Dang it, I don't know which button's the button.
depth.
There we go.
Ah,
There you go.
No, that
Nice.
song definitely carries like it.
it's really deep.
It pulls its weight. It does exactly
Yeah.
what it needs to do as
Pulls
far
you
as
down.
pulls you down.
Into
Depth.
the depth.
Wait.
Into
So
the
what
depth.
was your when you were when you're writing your music, do you get into a mental state that follows the progression of the music? Like, are you a method writer, if you will, or do you just like, this is what I'm going for and I'm gonna tweak it and fine tune it until I get to where I'm trying to be?
Well, like for this piece particularly, and even Desert Gold, like I'm listening to movie score producers.
Yeah.
I'm understanding their ideas. Sometimes I'll copy their ideas, like initially, like okay, how did they compose this? Transcribe it, right? But then I make my tweaks, so I'm trying to make it my own. But that helps me learn of like building the melodic line or building a motif and then building on top of it. And then in discussions with Ian and his artwork or pieces that he's showing me, I'm like, okay, I can kind of, visually, or I can hear it, right? Hear these melodic lines constantly progressing and building and building. He's describing the storylines, maybe some battles or things that are happening. And I'm able to say, okay, I want to draw this out as much as I can. So that piece we just listened to, there's a lot of phrases, a lot of parts where it just keeps building and building and building, and it doesn't resolve. And it just goes to the next part that builds and builds and builds, and it doesn't resolve, right? Until like maybe in the very end. But even in the end, again, you have that descending melodic line, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of that is inspiring by listening what others have composed, making some tweaks to it, and then matching it up to what I've either heard Ian talk about some storylines or some of his drawings. I'm like, okay, I can picture this is what's happening, and then I'll try to compose it with maybe alternating music lines by different instruments or different rhythms, or just putting it all together like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yes.
All right.
Wait.
Now
wanna
we'll
move on to the last
to
song?
Heavyweight.
the one I think is probably my favorite one that you've written. And it's the one I texted you about it after I listened to it. And I was, so whenever a new album or something comes out of an artist that I really enjoy, I will wait till I go to bed, put my headphones on, lay down, dark, close my eyes, listen to the album from start to finish. And this song, I listened to it. So I listened to it in the car, and then I listened to it over headphones at work, and then I was like, okay, I can't wait until bedtime tonight, because I'm gonna do that. And so I laid down and I throw in headphones, and I had my phone here so I could take notes and stuff. And dude, well, here we go. Okay,
This is happening.
mystical movement. Did you actually play it that fast the first time?
Yeah. I love the rhythms and the pedal. You can hear the pedal lift. It kind of sets the groove,
Yeah.
and then I'm holding it down the whole time during the
that
verse. Because I love the colors and the frequencies and how they all hit.
This absolutely does give me August Rush
Dude, right?
vibes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's developing while it's going.
You
Like
copied this
it's
from
not
August Rush? What?
No, it's original. There's a lot of overlapping rhythms, and that's
Yeah.
what I love about it.
And so the reason it makes me think of August Rush is because, like, it's so good. Like, there's a moment when he's at, like, the halfway house or, like, the foster home or whatever, and he walks outside, and he's seeing the grass move, and he sees a wind chime or something going.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah, I know
cars
exactly
driving
the scene
by
you're talking about.
and things like that. And things just overlay each other. And they're different rhythms, and they're different like tones, and different like the tonal quality of them is so different. But he's hearing how they all come together. And I was like,
So
dude.
I actually have this, just listening to this is the mental picture that's coming to my head is like, you have a little side quest that you're doing where you're going to go catch a loose horse for old Farmer Tomer, and you've got your companions with you, and you're running through these tall fields of waving grass as you're chasing the horse down.
Dude, it's almost Narnia-esque.
Kind of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the things I said is
I'm
running
shutting
through
up.
a small town full of hope and longing for adventure and finding it.
That's really well said. Now I can't stop thinking of the horse scene that you described.
Yeah.
But now I'm imagining some dude's like heavily geared up and like this like amazing armor with like a flag hanging out his back, like a dragon face helmet, but he's like peacefully frolicking after this horse. This poor
We're
horse
gonna
is
have
just terrified.
10 horse
right here.
capturing side quests
10
Yeah.
minimum.
to do
Switches
this.
up.
Yeah, not just once.
We'll just make the horse way too fast where nobody can actually realistically catch it.
And that was the Terrillian theme, by the way. Subtle, but it
Yeah.
was in there.
I like
That
it.
is great.
I heard that. I like this is new.
Yeah.
That's different.
So it's more of another peaceful piece.
Yeah.
But I started playing. I started with the piano, and this one I was able to get done in maybe like 2 weeks.
Well, it sounds like all that. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is all piano.
Yeah, I wanted to orchestrate this one or start adding instruments, but
I don't think you need to at all.
when I
No,
finished it, I'm
leave
like,
the
this
exact
is
way it is.
by itself. It's interesting. It's got a lot of movement to it.
Dude.
Plug.
So what I put in there, the notes that I wrote when it gets to that part is when you switched up the melody there for a second, I was like, it was something new, something unexpected. And then when you were coming up to it, I was like, is it something good? And then when it gets into that part that we just passed through, where it's just heavy and big,
Yeah,
it's
the
like,
swell.
oh yeah, no, it's better than you were expecting it to be. It's like, oh dang. It's
I
like
like it
whatever
'cause
you're
I'm-
coming up on, you know?
It's splitting at least 4 or 5 octaves at that point in the swell and the overlap of all the different octaves hitting at the same time. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And then this part, right? That transition makes it even more into a groove, which makes you want to listen to the song all over again, just
Yeah.
because it hits that groove. You're like, oh, I really like that, but then the song finishes out.
Yeah.
All of your music so far has given me strong adventure.
Yeah.
Like
Dude,
vibes.
yeah.
Inspirational vibes, Ian.
Always.
Like the whole thing, it feels so effortless. Like it's
Whimsical.
so almost whimsical, but like
Someone looked up a word. That
I did. Whimsical. I've been waiting for an opportunity to use it.
It's word of your
No,
day.
but it's like
Word of
the
the day.
music in the mundane. Like this character, this is just their life, yet there's a soundtrack to it.
soundtrack to my life.
And it is just a nice set to have something so peaceful going on when you have such a dark concept as a whole.
Yeah.
Like when you compare to the content that we've discussed so far and like what we've talked about and all that stuff and the heaviness of it, and then you hear this music and you put that, it's just a perfect, I guess you could say it's just a perfect lighting to the entire thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it lightens it in just a way that it makes you want to dive even farther in. Like it does spark that level of curiosity in you, even with the darkness of what it is. But like it definitely drives such a light vibe, which I love.
And it comes together like the way that it pulls the Terrillian theme in there. And then
Connects it.
Yeah. And then in the end, that soft, higher register melody that you put in there just kind of ties it all together. Like
Yeah.
I like the idea where there's a lot of games and movies and they have maybe a common theme or a common sound, right? But all these pieces, a lot of them are different because Ian will say, I'm listening for this, right, for this, or this for this, or this for this. And a lot of them are different. And that's why I'm really excited for this game, because a lot of these pieces are I mean, you could argue they're all different pieces in and of itself. Some of them have some kind of connections to it, but that's why I like the Terrillian theme itself, because we can apply that simple theme in each one of these pieces in its own way, which connects it all. It may not have the exact same sound for every piece, but there are ways to connect everything too. I like this piece especially because it is quite busy. It's very rhythmic. It's very driving. It's got a lot of movement to it. But then, like, probably about midway in the piece and at the end of the piece, there is a big sigh of relief. There is a spacing, right, where you just hear the chords are just, the pedal is down. They're just sustained, and there's no more notes playing, but you can just hear the sound going on.
Yeah.
But it is like a big breath that's being taken.
So, yeah, right there. That's what. So I wrote, the movement feels like breathing.
Yep.
Such an effortless action, but filled with life. And then tying it all together at the end with a beautiful bow. It's
I
like
that.
That's exactly the image you're given. And it's fantastic. I've never met a composer that is able to put images in your head like you've been able to with these songs.
I appreciate that, man.
Like, that's crazy to me, right?
I have one. I sent you a link to it. Listen to it later. His name is Piotr Muska. Sorry, he is Polish. I don't know how to pronounce the last name at all. But he is my favorite composer. He did the OST for Frostpunk. You should listen to it. I linked it to you. He
Will do.
captured the feeling of cold.
Wow.
Like the first time hearing that song, it was like 95 degrees outside because I'm outside cutting wood in the middle of summer in Texas. And I hear that and I'm like, I feel cold listening to this song. It was beautiful. But it was like you said, like listening to that just now, I'm like, yeah, no, like I can absolutely.
Peter Mosel.
Mosel? Okay.
Yeah. Dude is
I love Mosel.
We haven't done a real snow ice theme yet.
We have a
Ooh,
place
is that
for
which
something?
Beard,
which
thank you.
honestly would be perfect for a lot of the elements of the story of how heavy this is.
Yeah.
Cold.
Sometimes. Like it's
Yeah.
cool. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be like dark, overbearing, but like sometimes just cold conveys a lot with imagery, and he does a bang up job of doing that. Just as like that song we just listened to. I could picture myself running through a field of tall grass with
Frolicking.
your companions, like chasing down a horse on the side.
Or maybe some light powder snow.
It's this whimsical,
Whimsical.
this whimsical
Frolicking
adventure.
whimsical.
We're
Like, I
going to
could
put a
feel
link
it.
to Google for that word in the description.
whimsical. Yeah.
The more you
Essence
know.
of whimsy.
With that, we will draw to a close. We do appreciate all of you who have listened to our comprehensive discussion of the planet known as Terrillian. We entice you to listen and learn, following along with each podcast so that you can visualize the vivid and vast world. A tragic tale set forth where the main protagonist, you as the gamer, play to conquer lands and legends, thus creating the lore of your own. In doing so, we hope to gain your favor and turn these stories into a video game. If you want to see more content, check out our website at terrilliangaming.com.